Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. We finally got some sun in Phuket after months and months of rain during the monsoon season. So this marks the beginning of the high season where tourists will be flocking in from all over the place. And hopefully my little fish and chip business will do a little bit better. Things are a bit slow at the moment because obviously I'm focusing on expats, and there are a lot of expats that are here full time, but their jobs and work is usually very much to do with the seasonal fluctuations of the tourism industry here, which is obviously the island's main industry. They also do rubber and fruit and other things like that, but tourism is Phuket's #1 money spinning industry. And I'm going to address the whole issue there of the flat earther, truther, vegan issue here. A lot of you kind of watched my video, my Nick's Chippy video, which was basically trying to promote my business here. It wasn't necessarily a flat earth video. In fact, I put it under the Phuket's lifestyles category on my channel, but a lot of you came along and had a look, maybe seeing a new video from me, so appreciate that, and some very positive comments, but also a few negative ones. I was even called a half-truther because I'm still, I'm obviously promoting eating animals and meat. Now, of course, part of the road to finding my own truth has been going vegan, doing the detox, doing the raw food diets, finding out about, or not finding out, but yes, finding out about the horrific conditions that animals are kept under to support the meat and dairy industry. I've always felt sorry for animals kept in bad conditions, and for animals that are killed for their meat. And I have tried in the past to have a diet that is meat and dairy free, and encourage my family to be as vegetarian as possible. And when we do eat meat and dairy products, we try to ensure that they are organic, free range. The vegetables we eat and use are organic, and we always support local businesses. But of course, we are born into a life that requires that we consume. And even if you are consuming only vegetables and plants, we are still consuming living things, sentient beings. I mean, I look at everything as being sentient, from the trees and the flowers and the grass to the cows and the chickens and the slugs, the cockroaches, the people, the pigs, etc. And I feel for any sentient being, including plants and trees, that will be consumed. But at the same time, there's no avoiding the fact that this is what our physical existence involves. Things are born, come into existence, they consume in order to grow, and they get consumed. And yes, of course, a tiger or a fish or whatever creature doesn't really have much choice in what it consumes. Whereas, of course, humans do have a choice in what they can consume. And so we can make what would be more informed, more spiritual, more balanced choices about what we eat. And so yes, we can choose to be vegetarian, vegan, and choose to try our best to live a life that does no harm to other sentient beings. But okay, if a tree is a sentient being, are there any vegetarians and vegans out there who don't use wood products and have not had a tree chopped down to make their furniture? How do we know that a tree doesn't feel the same pain and torment that an animal goes through when it is slaughtered? A tree cannot scream. Maybe it does, but we cannot hear the scream. And of course, us humans like to think of ourselves as being kind of at the top of the food chain and being the most intelligent creatures on this planet. But what about a tree that grows and can grow for hundreds of years and may well know what is going on around it? A 200-year-old tree in a village green could tell all kinds of stories about the humans that have come and gone. And eventually some humans might decide that that tree must be chopped down in case it falls down and damages some property or falls on someone's head. And these intelligent humans who feel they must interfere will debate and argue about whether the tree should stay or go. All while the tree knows that one day its day will come, its life will end, and if it falls to the ground, it will decay and it will be eaten by the bugs and the fungi, and it will have a purpose and a use as a dead tree. If it is felled before it is dead, it also has a use as furniture. Be turned into all kinds of tools and things, maybe a boat. And of course, we humans, if we die and are not cremated, are buried or just left to rot, there are creatures and bacteria and other things in this perfectly balanced ecosystem that will do their job to consume us and return us to the earth. So while we can be fanatical about what we eat and why we choose to eat or not eat certain things, there is also a truth and an acceptance of that truth that this is the cycle of things on this earth, in this physical existence. You know, life, suffering, death, and whatever or whoever we are, we play a role. And for the most part, we might not be totally aware of what our role is as a sentient being. Perhaps our job on Earth is to take care of the trees, talk to the trees. Who knows? Who knows? But of course everyone's got an opinion and they are entitled to it. So even the nasty comments from the vegan Nazis on my video will remain. And in the big scheme of things, I accept that maybe I will be reincarnated as a fish to suffer the same fate as the fish that I used at Nick's Chippy. But just so you know, the oil we use is vegetable oil, and we don't do anything more than fish. We don't do any other meats, chicken, beef, pork, or otherwise. Fish is as far as I'll go. So that is the choice that I have made in order to help my family survive. Got to answer this phone call. Damn. They hung up, whoever they were. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope that gives you a better understanding of my particular situation and the fact that I've got to do whatever I can do to feed myself and my family. And I used to do public relations, promote you know, hotels and things like that, and of course sometimes I'd end up having to write an article about I can't remember what you call it, Wagyu beef or something, you know, or some hotel has got a veal on the menu, and I've agreed to write some public relations, and so I don't do that kind of thing anymore. And that's partly because I choose not to promote these things which I don't agree with, as far as promoting, you know, animal torture. Yeah. But I do what I can to care for sentient beings, from the plants to the animals, and ensure that I have as little impact as possible on that. And I pray and give thanks for the animals that the fish that we use in our business. I would love to not to have to make money out of animals. Unfortunately, that's the way it is here. It's difficult enough being in Thailand, being a foreigner in Thailand, because there are constant expenses. I can't own property. I have to renew my visa even though I'm married to a Thai with several children. It doesn't give me any more rights to stay here than your average tourist. Yeah? So it's a constant battle, and there are certain jobs I can't do, because those jobs, I can't be a tour guide, for example, because those jobs are reserved for Thais. Every time I get a new job, I have to get a work permit. It's not like America, where you have a green card and you can work anywhere. Each time you change jobs, you have to get a work permit with that particular company, and it's a horrible long process, you know, paying your taxes and all this stuff. So healthcare and all that kind of stuff is things I have to pay for. My children's education, I have to pay for it. It's a daily struggle to make ends meet. And so I ask for forgiveness for using animals to make money and feed my own family. But I also try to be realistic and hope that by appreciating the way things are and how the fish help support us, I'm doing the best I can in a difficult situation anyway. So anyway, thanks very much for your support, if you came along and gave it. And hey, if you've got different ideas about how things should be, then cool, you're entitled to that. But at the same time, things are the way they are, and we all make choices, and being a truther doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go along with everyone else that's being a truther. You can just an Eskimo, where they're living in a place where there are no plants and wild berries and you can't grow anything, they must live on seals and what other meat they can find. Are they wrong for doing that? Should they let themselves die out because they don't want to harm other sentient beings? Sometimes we are faced with very, very little choice in what we can do to survive, and there's no escaping the fact that in order to be here and survive, we have to consume. So the only way to escape that is to go off into another realm, that is a non-physical realm, where we do not consume. And maybe that comes after our time here on Earth. At the end of the day, we don't know. Thank you very much.